in all sense and purposes, it looks like Lane is going to be leaving. And I've always said, if Lane wants to win national championships, the number one question you follow up with is, do you believe you can win them at Ole Miss? And I think if you had him in a room, no microphones, nothing, he probably will tell you no.
Where do you think Lane Kiffin is coaching next year? Do you think it's LSU? Do you think it's Florida? Do you think it's Ole Miss? Where do you think he's going to be coaching next year?
Yeah, that's a great question. Originally, I thought Florida for a long time, because when we're talking about these coaching searches, you want alignment from not just the coaching staff to the players, but all the way to the athletic director and the university president. And LSU, just from the outside looking in, looked like a bona fide mess. We're having the governor talk about how we're not going to be doing these buyouts. They're refusing to pay Brian Kelly his money. All these different extracurriculars that aren't around football and the investment around that would point to, if Lane was to leave Ole Miss to go to Florida, that has plenty of alignment and isn't the same caliber job of an LSU that I would argue is a top 2 job in the country, but it's pretty damn close. Based on everything I'm reading, it looks like it's going to be LSU. They look like they have built a package that would be one that you can't refuse as a coach, knowing the caliber that is LSU. About $90 million, $25 million per year in NIL funds, just a ridiculous amount of money, knowing that they had just broken off with Brian Kelly, a top 3 buyout in the entire country. I understand Ole Miss fans are heartbroken by this. It is just a known fact that that job at Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi is a great job. It's not Florida. It's not LSU. And I don't even know if Lane knows what he wants to do. What do you think?
No, I think that, my thing when it comes to this is, I don't know how true it is that they put, a deadline on him for Friday, like, hey, let us know what you're doing. But whatever decision he makes, I personally believe I don't have a problem with it. He's bought in on this season. He's done a lot for Ole Miss, and this team is, I think, a lot better than they have any right to be. And I think a lot of that is because they're one of the teams in the country that has a legitimate difference maker when it comes to scheming things up on the sidelines. I think, Oklahoma comes to mind as well when I think of a team that has a legitimate difference maker on the sidelines. I think Lane Kiffin is probably out. I think he goes to LSU. And the reason why is because how often does that LSU job come open? I mean, that is, like you said, one of the top 2 programs in the country. It's one of the best jobs. And not only that job, it's a lot easier to recruit at LSU than it is to recruit, let's just say, at Florida or at Missouri or any of these other places, because of how strong the pipeline is in Louisiana, and because of the fact that they can go into Texas and recruit Texas players. They can go into Florida and recruit Florida players because they're LSU, because they have that type of prestige. So I think that Lane looks at this and says, I probably capped out at Ole Miss. I need to go to another place like an LSU. There's very few jobs like this that are going to give me the resources to be able to put a national championship contending team on the field. And because of that, I think that's the main reason why Lane Kiffin is most likely going to leave. I think for LSU, but I still think that Florida is a real play here.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. The one thing that I would hang my hat on if I'm a Florida fan around potentially getting Lane is more rooted in the lack of news that is coming out of the Florida Gators camp. A lot of noise has been from LSU, and they've been the first ones to detail that they may be the team that wins the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes, which in all sense and purposes, it looks like Lane is going to be leaving. And I've always said, if Lane wants to win national championships, the number one question you follow up with is, do you believe you can win them at Ole Miss? And I think if you had him in a room, no microphones, nothing, he probably will tell you no. And I think if I'm a Florida fan, I wouldn't be out of it, but I would definitely build some contingency plans and look elsewhere to see who is the next guy up, because one of these two programs is going to have to look for another guy.